This spear build is about one thing: breaking enemy stamina over and over. If you're tired of long, drawn-out fights, this setup keeps bosses staggered and under pressure from start to finish. Here's how it works. What's going on YouTube? It is Zach the Ripper back once again with a First Berserker Khazan build. Today I'm bringing you a highly requested spear build just for you. We have a little bit of information to cover, so let's go ahead and get right into it, and after that, right into the battle demonstration. So first of all, I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, this is a late game build. If you want an earlier game build, there's a bunch out there on YouTube right now, and the vast majority of them are just equipping the Fallen Lord set and kind of going to town, and it's just gameplay footage. I don't like to go in that direction. I pride myself on doing something a little bit different than other creators are doing right now, and after thorough testing of almost every spear in this game, I can tell you now there's not going to be anything specifically overpowered or broken when it comes to a spear. We do have a great sword build actually on my channel right now if you want to check that out and you want to do some insane DPS numbers. I also have other survival builds and a great fire dual wheel build as well. That being said, I want to tell you what we picked, why we picked it, how we allocated our stats, and a couple of substitutions for maybe your Phantom to give you the best overall performance based on your playstyle. But I want to tell you now, this is a very aggressive type build. If you want to stay in the pocket and continuously keep doing DPS, look for the right moments, and you will also find yourself brink guarding very, very easily some of the most devastating attacks from some very strong opponents, and then capitalizing on those moments. Let's get into it right now. So again, I want to say that this is a very late game build. You obtain this scroll after you defeat Reese, which is the second to last mission. But it's kind of a good thing. It's a double-edged sword here, because if you have a lot of side missions you want to experiment with the new build on or finish the game with this build, it is completely possible, and you can carry it into New Game Plus as well. That being said, we are running the entire Faded Memories set after we obtain it from Reese, all right, including the accessories. Now, I did pick the Bewilder Jar for a very specific reason, and that's how we're allocating our stats. I am currently level 136. Now, if you do not have the jars available to you, go ahead and select the headpiece. You will still get all the passive skills from the full armor set. The spear, however, does scale with both willpower and proficiency, and this 10 willpower right here gives us better return on our investment. It gives us more attack power. It gives us more stamina damage. Overall, it is just better. So you want to navigate your way towards the jars and unlock this so that way you get that extra unlock. So here we are in our stats screen. I'm going to start at the bottom and move my way up and tell you why I laid out the points the way I did. First up, proficiency. Ladies and gentlemen, the soft cap stops at 60, okay? Your base stats will still increase by the same value no matter how many points you put into them, but this is where you get a very bad return on your investment, is right down here. You get 0.1%, okay? Soft cap stops at 60. Below this, going from level 59 to 60, you get a much, much higher increase than 0.1%, which is why I stop right there. Willpower, it is at 45. Do not forget, we are getting 10 more points from the helmet. And what does that mean? We're getting more attack damage, more health. We're getting more stamina recovery, and we're getting more guard stamina damage increase right there. So multiply all that by 10. That's what you're getting just from the helmet alone, which is why we chose the helmet, okay? Don't forget that. Up next, we are investing nothing into strength. Why? Because this is a very lightweight armor. Our agility stays at an A, which means our actual, like, dodging and brink guarding and regular guarding is going to come at a much, much lower cost stamina-wise, okay? So we really don't mess with strength that much at all. Endurance. We're going to be doing a lot of repeated thrust in the battle demonstration. You'll see why. You need a lot of endurance for this build. And last but not least, I put 10 points into vitality. Again, I'm at level 136. Spoiler alert, you're going to see the final battle in this fight, because it is always the best demonstration of how much damage you can do to a target, considering he has the largest health pool. So I am at level 136. I think the recommended for fighting the final boss is level 134, so we're pretty much on par with that. If you have more points to spend, perfectly fine. You can put them into willpower. You can put them into proficiency. You can put them into more vitality for more survivability, however you want to allocate them. Now, let's go ahead and move into our Phantom abilities really quick. I'll show you what attributes you want to try to prioritize and roll onto your armor, and we'll get into the skill tree and then the battle demonstration. Let's do it. So in the Phantom abilities, I like to go with Wolfric the Resilient at max level. He gives us a frontal assault damage increase by 15%, which is huge considering the amount of repeated attacks you're going to see me do. All right, now if you want to go with an alternate, that's perfectly fine. The goal is to try and destroy that stamina bar of your opponent as fast as possible after getting the right opening. All right, a couple of other suggestions that I would give, if that is not really your style and you're liking the build, but maybe let's say you're defending a lot and your posture is getting broken, I would recommend switching to Maximilian the Impenetrable. At max level, he gives us 20% guard stamina damage decrease. Now, based on how we've allocated our stats, we don't have a whole lot of that, so 20% more is really huge. You'll find yourself in the position to be able to guard a lot more, especially if you're not really good at brink guarding. That is my secondary recommendation. And finally, my last recommendation is obviously Catch of the Unyielding for an extra 30% stamina recovery and the awakened skills as well. So those are your Phantom recommendations, and I will go ahead and stick with Wolflick the Resilient so that way you can see what kind of DPS this build can do. Let's get into the skill tree. Here we are in the skill tree very fast. Now the swift attack, you want to go and spec this completely out, but most importantly, you want to prioritize Moonlight so that way your after image is doing as much damage as you are following up every attack that you're doing. So go and spec this completely out. It cannot hurt you at all, but try to prioritize Moonlight. Up here in our Potent Blow tree, this is where the build is most important. Based on the armor set that I chose, you get access to this right here called the Frenzied Cleave. And every Frenzied Cleave that we do is considered a Potent Blow. That's very important when you want to set your attributes and re-roll them. You want to focus on trying to get as much Potent Blow damage as possible, and you'll see why in the battle demonstration. We have right here this skill called After Image Thrust. We will be using this to help break the enemy's guard and following it up with Trance as well, which leads me to this right over here. Over here in Chain, you want to spec out this entire middle tree. This gives you an extra option of Shadow Reversal, getting behind your opponent. You don't have to do it very often, but this is good to have as a just in case. Right here, Trance. Go ahead and spec Trance out entirely because this is going to be part of your combo chain and will help you follow up and do a bunch of extra attacks and get that DPS as high as we can with the spear. Chase Devour. This is very important, gradually recovering spirit every time the enemy is exhausted. So every time you move in for a brutal attack, we want to, again, try to destroy that stamina bar as much as possible. If you do that, you'll slowly start to recover spirit again. That way you can set up more abilities after the enemy comes out of the brutal attack or riposte that you did. I put in Vital Strike right here because Vital Strike is extremely important to capitalize on your target at very specific moments. You'll see this Vital Strike, you can do this and then immediately start following it up with Frenzied Cleave over and over and over and over. As soon as you see your enemy do a specific animation where they look like they're stunned, that's when you want to capitalize on it. So max out Vital Strike and Vital Strike Shatter right there. Over here, I put in Agility just to decrease cost of stamina when dodging, and your guard abilities like Breakdown, Endurance, and Rod Smite. Over here, a very, very important skill, especially for very big boss fights. There are certain animations and there are certain skills that are very difficult to try and brink guard for a lot of people. Phantom Heatwave takes the guesswork completely out when it comes to this. And not only that, when you get successful brink guards, you can do damage back to your opponent. After a Phantom Heatwave, you can even follow it up with Trance right over here, making extra combos happen when you least expect it. Sometimes you will even be able to stagger your target when you get a successful brink guard on some of their biggest moves, and I'll show that and demonstrate that to you during the fight. So let's go ahead and move into our common skill tree, and for your resources, go ahead and spec these out right here. These are the most important in my opinion. Your Reflection, even if you're not good at reflections, it's still good to have this in your back pocket. And counterattack as well. Counterattack's very important for the Mikiri counters as well. Over here, Brutal Attack Reap, getting some extra health back. Remember, our vitality is very low, so if we get an opportunity to capitalize on our target because we're getting a riposte, you want to recover some health back as well. You're probably going to be taking some damage as well, so don't let that scare you away. We're going to try and stay in the pocket as much as possible and keep pressing our target. That's all to be said right there. Let's go ahead and move into some of the attributes you want to roll onto your gear and then into the battle demonstration. Now, as far as the attributes you want to try and roll onto your armor, what I would prioritize is damage increases, increases to your health, stamina recovery, and overall stamina and defense, okay? Only a few things you really have to pay mind to. Again, this very aggressive play style. I'll keep saying that. Now, on our weapon right here, we have a damage increase by 6.6%. There's another thing you can roll onto your weapons and certain offensive gear, like the gauntlets as well. called Potent Blow damage increase, and that percentage point, while it's harder to roll onto your armor, goes much, much higher. I think this caps out at like 7. 6.6 is a very good roll, but the Potent Blow damage, and we're going to be doing a lot of Potent Blows, I think rolls up to like 9.5% or something like that. But because I'm very low on Lacrima, I'm going to kind of take this damage increase and roll with it. So don't waste Lacrima, use this damage increase to your advantage, and don't try to keep rolling for something you may get or may not get, all right? Also have extra attack damage right here. This is maximum, which is why this highlights right here. I got a very good roll right there. Stamina damage increase. We want to obviously try and break that posture, so this one's very good as well. Over here on the helmet, try to max out the defense as much as possible. The only difference between this and, let's say, you were wearing the headpiece, the defense for headpiece goes up much higher than these jars do, okay? Now, this jars, it's a little bit better because I've been infusing it with other armor pieces. That's why it's a 705 total defense. And this is a lightweight armor. Plus, you're not getting the brink dodge stamina recovery. We're not going to be really focusing on doing a whole lot of brink dodging anyway. Again, the jar beats out the headpiece every day of the week. Now, on the cloak, here we go with more defense, maximum health, and stamina recovery. Again, I would roll something a little bit different for myself than stamina recovery. I think our stamina is going to be just fine, but I'm trying to save Lacrima because I don't have a whole lot. On our gauntlets here, Potent Blow damage increase. You see how high of a percentage this can go? It can go a little bit higher than that. Remember, the Frenzied Cleave that we get right here is considered a Potent Blow, which is why we want more of this, and the percentage can go pretty high. More stamina damage increase, Potent Blow attack damage. This was a very good roll I was not expecting. Try to prioritize things like that. If you get regular damage increases, that's perfectly fine as well. All right. On our trousers, more defense, negating some damage right here, and more health to supplement what we have going on here in Vitality. On our shoes, Potent Blow stamina damage increase, okay? Receive damage, a little more defensive stat right there. These two roll into defensive stats. That one rolls into offense. I don't understand how this game works that way. Moving on. On our ring here, we have defense, damage increase, attack damage. Still trying to get as much attack out of this as possible. And for our other accessory, the necklace, damage multiplier. I still haven't figured out what damage multipliers are yet because the game doesn't really explain things to you. I think I have an idea of what it is, but I don't want to get into that right now. More stamina so we can keep executing that Frenzied Cleave more often, and more attack damage. So that's basically all you need to know. And the other thing we might want to prioritize, or you might want to prioritize when you're in the heat of battle or starting before battle, obviously you want to bring in elixirs to negate any kind of status effects, which is very important. But these guys right here, Vitality Spheres, do not underestimate these Vitality Spheres. Craft them often, buy them from the merchant. You can buy 5 at a time, and they're infinitely more important than you think, especially in a build like this, and you'll see, because we're going to go through a lot of stamina. We're going to do a lot of stamina damage to our target, but you'll see, with that Frenzied Cleave, we're going to be able to use it over and over and over again. So it's really fun. It's kind of a spin to win, if you will. Let's go ahead and get into the battle demonstration. I can't wait to show you. This is your last and final warning of potential spoilers. We are going to go fight the final boss right here, and in my opinion, he is the best gauge for testing builds on because he has the highest HP pool. And furthermore, you can actually craft this build before fighting him and going into New Game Plus. So this works out in our favor in both ways. Pay very close attention to the bottom right corner of your screen if you have to pause the video or backtrack at all, just to see when I'm executing the abilities and against what attacks and what we want to look out for in order to start using that Frenzied Cleave over and over and over again and start destroying that HP pool as much as possible with the spear, okay? Also pay mind to if I consume a Vitality Sphere. We have a bunch of those. They're very easy to craft, so that way you get a lot more stamina recovery. Let's go ahead and get into the fight. Here we go. The first thing you want to focus on is getting your after image. All right, so 3 swift attacks, and then there you go. You always want to go into that vital strike, that overhead strike, and then start pushing those Frenzied Cleaves. Just like that, it's R2 a bunch of times. So a quick run forward. All right, watch out for this frost. Now, if you don't see him get like stunned or staggered like that, the little fallback that he kind of does, that's when you know you want to start defending or dodging again, rather than doing some follow-up attacks. All right, I'm frosted right now, but not a big deal. Now, for big attacks like this, you want to save that Phantom Heat Wave for the ones that seem almost impossible to brink guard or time. That's what you really want to save that for. little frosted right now, but that's okay. Want to get that after image back again. Make sure that refreshes. So even if he gives us an opportunity here, I'm going to go in with swift attacks and try to get that back. There we go. Then we can go back in with the frenzied cleaves again. All right, remember Vital Strike. If they start following up, here we go again. All right, nothing we can do about this attack. It's kind of devastating. And just a big AoE. But it gives us an opportunity to refresh our stamina recovery with a Vitality Sphere. All right, he hit us, but that's okay. All right, 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Just keep on going. Spin to win right there. Get ready to follow up with some of these other abilities. All right, watch out for this. When we get an opportunity, we want to refresh our after image because we got phase 2 coming up. Remember, get really aggressive with that. All right. He's still stunned, so we're going to go all in with the damage here. All right, really aggressive with that. There we go. Phase 2. All right. See what he starts off with here. I think this is his Makiri sequence. Nope, he changed it up on us, which is fine. All right. As you can see, with only 10 vitality, we're still, like, the survivability is looking really good still. That's what that Phantom Heatwave for is right there, because those really big attacks that have devastating consequences if you do not Brink Guard them. That Phantom Heatwave gets us through it all. And such an amazing amount of survivability, even with just 10 vitality. Here comes another one of those attacks where if you do not Brink Guard the final one, it's kind of hard to time. The follow-up will be devastating. So that's what we saved that Phantom Heatwave for, again. All right, he almost went into another phase right there, and it could have been really devastating, but as you see, we just kind of stay in the pocket and do as much damage as we possibly can to him, and just stay it. Keep spinning to win as much as you can. All right, and we have a couple of Phantom Heatwaves, which is really good for this phase. Just kind of run out of some of this. All right. These crystals are kind of annoying. But here comes another Phantom Heatwave moment right here. Boom. Cancel them right out of that. And then we follow up with more Frenzied Cleaves, man. It's kind of insane how good this is. All right, we have a lot of guard stamina damage. Remember, if you want to change from Wolfric the Resilient to one of the other ones, do not be afraid to change that out. All right, this is going to explode. All right, if we can cancel this, that'd be awesome. All right. Another big cancel right there, and we spin to win right here, baby. Just like that, it's GG's. Man, this build is actually pretty dang fun. I urge you to try it. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel and now hit like on the video so I stay in your algorithm. If you're experimenting with some builds that you haven't seen here on the channel, please let me know down in the comments. I'd love to see what you guys are up to in the First Berserker Khazan. Until next time, guys, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay deadly. I'll catch you in the next video.